All right, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Elliott with Rickety Ski Reviews, and today, it's a rainy day out in Idaho. We're gonna be talking about the Nordica Enforcer. This is a ski that I really don't like. It's just kind of a very disappointing ski. Like, you put energy into it and you don't get much out. It's like a very underwhelming ski, kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, I think is what I said. Yeah, it's just a very unexciting ski. You kind of loaded it, you don't get much out of it. That's what I thought of it. But today, we're gonna see what Ski Essentials thinks. I know that they're big fans of the Nordica Enforcer. I think that, if I remember right, I read an article that both Jeff and Bob own this ski. Take that for what it's worth. They like the ski, I don't. I've said in previous videos that kind of the way that they load their turns, where they kind of hop into the next turn, it seems to really suit them well on this ski. Whereas I want to load the ski and kind of get the energy out of the back end of the ski. So when it doesn't have that, when you load it and you don't get anything out of it, it's really disappointing. This is a perfect example of ski reviewers always talking about the positives, but being really afraid to talk about the negatives. And I think this ski has a lot of negatives. So I haven't seen this video. Let's jump into it. If you're gonna buy the ski, you wanna know the positives, but you're gonna want to know the negatives as well. So here we go.
Hey skiers, it's Bob with SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2024 ski test. We've got a Nordica Enforcer 100 for you today. This ski returns structurally and shape-wise unchanged for this year. Does get a little bit of a graphics refresh, but really remains that same legendary Enforcer 100 ski that really kind of started a lot of this modern freeride movement.
Okay, so they're playing this at slow-mo. That's fine. I get why they're doing that, because if you want to really see the ski up close, the runs don't take that long, right? It might take 10 to 30 seconds for them to ski by. I understand the slow-mo. It can be a confusing perspective. I want to see how the skis turn in real time, not kind of in this floating. The skiing looks fine. The turn initiation is a little bit with the upper body rather than the boots, but that's okay. It's fine. It's high quality skiing for sure. Yeah, the other thing he mentioned was that this is kind of a legacy ski that kind of introduced this all-mountain model. But again, I think a lot of nostalgia gets tied into the ski, and when you compare it to present-day skis, it does not hold up that well. That's just my opinion, but let's see what Bob thinks.
Skis were kind of getting wider and wider over the years, and a lot of companies were kind of going for this race ski on steroids type of mentality, just making wider carving skis. And Nordica with this Enforcer 100 said, that's great, like we can take a similar build, but we're gonna put a different and more playful shape to it. So you still get that carving power, you still get that edge grip, that groomer skiing, ability, but you're also getting this wider bodied, more playful format.
As someone who comes from ski racing, I believe Bob in that story, but you do not feel a lot of like the pop and playfulness or the aggressiveness. Let me be careful how I phrase that. This is, from a carving perspective, a very, very intermediate ski. It doesn't give you all your energy back. It's afraid to kind of pop you in and out of the turns. This is a very, very kind of old style of ski. I understand that at the time it may have been innovative, but as someone who actually comes from a heavy racing background, this ski is not very aggressive. As far as how it carves compared to other maybe kind of freestyle skis, yeah, I could see this being on the more aggressive side. Oh, come on, these skis are not very aggressive, Bob. Especially compared to the other stuff you guys have tried. When you get them on the groomers and load them up, they're really, really disappointing.
From a shape perspective, really opening up softer snow and varied terrain. So that
they're disappointing, but they're not as disappointing as the Atomic Bent. They probably do carve a little bit better than the Bent. So if you're looking at that kind of carving, where you're not really carving, sure, let's give credit where it's due. Although the Atomic Bent felt better in the trees, so I don't know. If you're buying the Atomic Bent, you're probably not worried about carving anyway. Whereas these are sold as a do-it-all carving and powder ski. I don't know.
That's where this Enforcer 100 really got its name and really inspired not only the Enforcer brand within Nordica's brand, but a lot of other companies have gone this route as well. So really inspirational ski from an industry standpoint here. Stoked to see it back for 2024 because this thing is just pretty much awesome.
Yeah, and why wouldn't they bring it back? Put on your top sheet. I mean, the graphic artists they have on these skis, A+, they look cool. But yeah, of course they're gonna bring it back. It's popular, it's really good for intermediate skiers. If you're not loading the ski, you don't even notice it. And you can just print money like this. Of course they're gonna do that. And I feel like Ski Essentials is kind of skirting around the fact that this ski feels very long in the tooth by talking about its legacy. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm being overly cynical, but these skis stunk. If you're somebody who likes to load a ski and get snap out of it, go ahead and try them, but I wouldn't buy these sight unseen.
Still built with that performance wood core, 2 sheets of metal. We do get carbon infused in the fiberglass, adding to the stiffness of the ski. It does add up in terms of weight here. We're on the scale right now. This is the 179. Oh, just turned off on me there. But I did see a 22 at the beginning of that number, so pretty heavy. 22.
Pretty heavy. That's very heavy. Holy moly. That's heavier. Is that heavier than the Vocal Mantra? It's definitely heavier than like the QSTs or the Mavericks. Oh yeah. These things are chunky. Like the K2 Mindbender is such a better ski than this. The K2 Mindbender, you load it, you get your energy back. You get that edge set in, you'll rail all the way through. This is kind of like, you load the ski, you don't get anything back. It just kind of pitters out.
And 10. So 2,210 grams in the 179. Pretty hefty ski. What you're getting out of that is incredibly smooth and stable performance in a variety of snow conditions and terrain. Everything from, relatively firm groomers, great carving ski for 100. We're not going so far as to say it's a
great carving ski for 100, really? Really? Okay. I like Ski Essentials. I've talked to these guys, they're nice people. It gets very kumbaya, especially when we're talking about skis we like, because when I'm talking about positives and they're talking about positives, there's a lot of parallels. But when we start talking about Nordica Enforcers or the Atomic Bents, this is where we're gonna divulge, and I'm gonna respectfully disagree. These skis do not carve well, okay? They can carve, so like maybe back then that was like this big accomplishment, but these skis do not carve well. They don't feel snappy in and out of the turns. There are plenty of other 100 underfoot skis that feel snappier, that feel even better. You look at the Atomic Bent 100, sure, it probably feels like a little bit better carver than that ski, but you look at something that really is meant to be a carving ski, like the Atomic Maverick 100, that carves so much better. You look at the K2 Mindbender, that carves better. You look at the Vocal M6 Mantra, that ski can really carve. This ski, you put energy into it, you're not gonna get back out. If you're an intermediate skier or somebody who kind of hot dogs and slides out your turns, you won't notice it. Maybe you'll really enjoy the ski. But if you're somebody who really enjoys loading up your downhill ski and let it snap into the next turn, you're not gonna enjoy the ski. At least in my experience. Maybe you have a certain style where you like to just kind of throw your skis and initiate it. You might really enjoy it, but I would say at the very least, if carving is a concern, test these out. I have a theory that these are kind of an intermediate ski, maybe even kind of like an older person ski where you're carving but not super aggressively so you don't feel the full breadth of the turn. Maybe because I see a lot of older people just anecdotally skiing on this, but yeah, this is not a good carving ski, even in the 100 category, which is not super competitive, but I'd way rather be, or a Fisher Ranger. I only did the 90s, so I guess that's not in the 100, but the Fisher Ranger carves way better. If you're looking at the hundreds, Vocal M6 Mantra, Solomon QST 98, Atomic Maverick 100. Those skis carve well. This is kind of just a bunch of hot air. This ski really doesn't load enough to give you energy back out of your turn.
Frontside ski, but for what it is and what it does, really nice on trail. The softer the groomer, the better. But once you get into, crud, chop, broken snow, wind buff, stuff like that,
isn't that every ski? The softer the better? Come on, Bob. Come on. Yeah, with this ski, the better the snow, the better. Yes! Especially in the East Coast, where like the end of the day, you want the snow to soften up a little bit because it's like boilerplate ice. Yes, the softer the snow, the better. I get what he's trying to say. He's probably saying like in the spring, it kind of cuts through things well. But even in my experience, that wasn't great. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying here, Bob, but yes, the softer the snow, the better. They call it hero snow for a reason. You can get away with a bunch of bad habits, and I'm sure in a Nordica Enforcer, that's no exception.
That's where this thing really lights it up, mostly because of this flatter tail. Once we get into the 104 free section, we kind of lose this straighter, flatter tail aspect and get into a little bit more of that twin tip free ride. But this 100 with that flatter tail makes a lot of sense for cutting through crud, chop, and adverse conditions.
All right, Bob, I'm gonna guess that you're probably putting the cart before the horse here a little bit. You're letting the construction indicate what you're feeling on snow, and as someone who put these on snow and skied on them, you really don't feel that. Yes, it might have a more aggressive tail than something like the bent, sure, but when you're looking at the actual construction versus what you're feeling, when you load up that ski and get it out of the end, it just kind of pitters out. It does not snap you back in the next turn. I don't know if that's from the camber, from the shape, from the overall design, but it feels like a very, very old ski design. And we're in this golden era of ski designs where skis ski so well. I talked about the QST98, how it feels wider than it is in the powder, but narrower than it is in the groomers. This ski is like the opposite. It feels really slow in the trees for how wide it is. It feels really unresponsive in the groomers. I don't know. Maybe this is just them being positive about the ski, but it seems like they like them. Like I said, I read on their website that both Jeff and Bob own these skis, so at the very least, if you're looking at buying these skis, I would highly recommend trying them out, because I tried them out expecting to like them based on how I've liked Nordicas in the past, and I was very, 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 very disappointed. All right, let's keep going.
We still have a decent amount of tip rocker up front, nothing too crazy, pretty standard stuff in terms of taper. The side cut extending past the rockers, the big thing here, and they kind of have this cheat sheet on the graphic on the back, so that's where the rocker starts, and that's where the side cut ends. So when you're putting the ski on edge, it starts turning before this, when you bend it, it starts turning a lot earlier. And
it seems like nonsense when he's talking about the graphics lining up with it, but it's not actually. It's pretty valuable information. If you're somebody who tunes around skis, especially in the East, it's nice to know where to start detuning them so that the skis don't over-initiate. At least that's how it was back when I was racing. Maybe the rocker has affected that, but it is nice to know because you don't actually tune the entire ski when you're tuning. You just tune the part that comes in contact, and then you want to actually detune the tips and tails to make sure that you don't kind of hook into a turn too early. If anyone finds that interesting.
And then that continues. Oh, they don't have the tail graphic on this one, but similar in the tail as well. And we don't see a whole lot of rocker back here though, so that lines up a little bit nicer for more directional skiing. But that taper and rocker line up really well. And where we're seeing this more rounded, a little bit sharper shape in the back, that just gives the ski a little bit more accessibility, more steering control. That flatter tail and less tapers can be pretty jarring. So having...
Okay, is it good because it gives it better carving, or is it also good because it's giving you powder? Here's my take. It didn't do the carving well, and the powder I did find on these, it also was so slow going from edge to edge that it really wasn't very fun to be in the trees because you didn't have enough response time. I don't know, pick a lane, I guess. That's my take on this. This ski honestly feels like it's not committing to anything. It's trying to have a little bit of everything so it can appease the most people. I'm sure it's like financially super successful, but if you're somebody who really appreciates kind of the art of carving and really likes to kind of enjoy your turns, I can tell you there's not much here. This is a pretty shallow carving experience.
This be a little bit more rounder and a little bit more distinct just makes it easier to steer out of the tail and kind of manipulate the turn shape and style. But heavy ski, strong ski, lot of stability and power.
Okay, see how this person is skiing? This is like this ski rewards this style of skiing. They're very over the top and just kind of steering with the front, and they're not really like letting the ski complete its turn and come out. And in this skier's defense, the ski doesn't really do that. It doesn't give you any energy in the second half of the turn, so there's no point in doing that. But if you are this kind of skier where you're really just focused on turn initiation and you don't want energy in and out of your turns, again, maybe if you're just somebody who is intermediate or a little bit on the older side that isn't looking for a ton of snap and power, you just want to kind of cruise and enjoy the snow, maybe this is a good ski for you. But this like perfectly illustrates what I'm talking about, because this person is like so over the front on their skiing that they're not giving the boot time to flex the ski and turn around and then load up that ski and kind of springboard off of it and into the next turn. The ski is very, very mediocre and it doesn't give you all of the energy you want. So this style of skiing, I could see why you like this ski. But if you want to kind of master carving long term, if you want to get better at carving, you need to get the whole turn completed, kind of tip to tail. And if you're somebody who wants to get better at carving or who is already really good at carving, this is a very, very frustrating ski to ski on. This looks so uncomfortable. It's not even bad skiing necessarily. It's just this style of skiing is very limiting as far as progression goes. It's gonna like hard cap your skiing ability.
Pretty good floater. I've skied this thing in very deep snow. And other than the weight, it's actually a really good floater. You do have to work a little bit harder.
Other than the weight, it's a really good floater. Bob, please. Come on, make it make sense. Other than the weight, it's a really good floater. Other than the hole in my boat, it's a really good boat. It's in the bottom of the ocean, but it's a really good boat. Come on, dude. Come on, Bob. I like your reviews. I like this, but this is like you're twisting yourself into a pretzel trying to give this ski accolades that it honestly doesn't deserve. I get where the skiing style where you guys like it, but come on. It is heavy and it's super wide. It kind of is like trying to be a one ski quiver and really letting you down in a lot of different aspects.
But given kind of the benefits on an all mountain type of application, I think that having that little bit of a trade-off is worth it. So great ski, 17.3 meters in the 179.
Okay, so says you. In Bob's defense, on paper, this ski probably looks like a really good value. You're getting enough width that you can go in the powder and not kind of get stuck or go over the front. You're getting at least some kind of carving ability, and especially if you're only doing the first half of the turn, it's gonna feel good for that. But it's not doing anything well. Like, it's just, yeah, it's like the difference between a ski being good on paper and a ski actually being something that I would want to ski on daily.
Turny, loves to turn. Great turner. I'll say it again. For the free ride aspect of this ski, it's about as sharp and crisp of a turner as you're going to get.
The ski likes to turn. Bob, come on, man. The ski likes to turn. What else is it going to do? Oh, God. Okay, I get what he's trying to say. And he's saying it's a free ride ski. So is it like a park ski too? Is it good for a park ski? Is this like the atomic bent all over again? I don't know.
So make sure you check out this Legend Nordica 100 Enforcer here at skiessentials.com, and we will see you out there on the hill. Bye.
Yeah, freeride skiing is just like powder all mountain skiing. And plenty of skis do that. Like a lot of my top pick skis do both, especially if you're out west. You like get a good appreciation for skis that can do both. And this feels like maybe an East Coast powder day ski. I don't know, but you have to have a really like distinct style to enjoy this type of ski. And like I've said before, I really think that if you're somebody who's intermediate and trying to progress, it's really going to limit you. That being said, I don't think this was a bad review from Ski Essentials, even though I gave Bob grief for two major points that were pretty big in my mind. But overall, it was an informative ski review. It gave us all of the information we need to know as consumers, except it didn't give us... It doesn't give you the bad parts. That's what I'm going to tell you, the negatives of this ski. This ski is so intermediate and so do-it-all one ski quiver that it really limits not only the ski's potential, but also the skier's potential. It's going to hard cap you to half of a turn carving. It's also going to hard cap you in the powder to having a heavy ski that's going to kind of sink when it gets lighter snow, which is the best kind of snow. This ski is trying to do so much, and it may have been really innovative when it came out, but I think it's time to look at this ski with fresh eyes. And as a pair of fresh eyes who just demoed the ski last spring, I can tell you this ski is really, really disappointing. It doesn't do the powder well because it's not very quick and easy turns. It's not very good for edge-to-edge time. It's certainly not good for a responsive carving ski. I skied it in trees, didn't enjoy it. I skied it on the groomers, didn't enjoy it. There really wasn't anywhere that this ski thrived. What I would say is if you're looking at the ski, consider getting two skis if you can. Get a powder ski, get a carving ski, and really just shred in those scenarios. But if you're trying to get something on paper that has like the most statistic points, stat points, oh, it's got this, it probably looks great. But put it on your feet and see if it matches your style, because if it doesn't, it can be very disappointing. That's about all I can say about it. I will probably have to come back to the ski again this year, just so I can stack it up to other skis. That's my opinion on the Nordica Enforcer. And again, this is the 2024 model. I demoed the 2023, but they didn't change it. It's just a top sheet change. So this information's all the same. But as always, thank you for watching. More than anything, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my content. Whether or not you agree with it or not, maybe it's helping illuminate some of the ski's downsides and helping people who are trying to make this purchase. If you really like this content, please like and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. But more than anything, just thank you for taking the time to watch. I really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.